Hi, I'm Sherry Williams, and I work in the Education Division at the National Gallery of Art.
Hi, I'm Hayward Turnipseed, and I am the lead telecommunications specialist here at the National Gallery of Art. And what does that mean? That means when you come to the National Gallery of Art, you can make and take telephone calls. And now, welcome to Ask the National Gallery Anything.
Anything?
Anything. That's wide open, Sherry. Let's see what questions we have in our box.
All right. Is the National Gallery a part of the Smithsonian?
Is the National Gallery a part of the Smithsonian? We get that a lot.
We get that a lot. And we are not a part of the Smithsonian, though we are their neighbors.
And we're here on the mall,
Yeah.
not too far from the Capitol and the Air and Space Museum, which is one of the more famous museums in the country, right? Like in the world, everybody loves that one.
Natural history for me.
Natural history.
And the Museum of African American History and Culture. Yeah, come on.
Talk about it.
Come on, Haywood.
Talk
Come
about
on.
it. They just had a hip hop block party.
I saw that.
Awesome.
DJ RBI?
Yeah! Who has been here at the National Gallery of Art.
And we'll be here in October.
NGA Nights. See, look at this cool place.
Hey. National Gallery Nights.
National Gallery Nights. Next question. Is it okay to touch art in the National Gallery?
It is not okay to touch art in the National Gallery. It's actually not okay to touch art in most art museums. We want to keep it safe and preserve it for future generations, so we ask everyone to keep their hands to themselves.
Although there are some interactive elements, because we do have the moving walkway, which is an installation, and you actually can participate in that, just no bouncing and jumping.
Fun conservation fact, they use spit to clean things.
That's nasty.
What is the coolest part about working in a museum? Ooh. I mean, we were just talking, museums are literally cool. The temperature is kept at like 70 degrees, but it always feels freezing in the museum. But the coolest part is like you get to walk through, it's like night at the museum.
It all day.
Empty, nobody else is around. You have free access to be in front of a work of art that's unique and nowhere else in the world.
If you're familiar with Apple, which most people are, right? Steve Jobs encouraged people to use art to inspire them to do their work, right? So we actually have to get inspired to hide the telecommunications devices so that you guys can't see them, so that they don't interfere with the works of art, which is a really cool position I get to be in. So I'll put my earbuds in, listen to Kanye West, and see how somebody else would move through. And you get to get inspired and think of things in all kind of abstract ways. Like the building we're in now, which is a work of art of itself, right?
Yep.
The East Building.
Yep.
It is an architectural work of art. No right angles. That inspires me all the time, because literally there are no right angles and no right or wrong answers depending upon the question. That was pretty good.
Pretty good.
So that's like the coolest part, being inspired all day and working around, everything that we get to see. So you should think about working at an art gallery if you get the opportunity. What's a work of art you saw as a kid that's always stuck with you?
Ooh.
Very good question.
I'm old, Haywood. You're asking me to cast my brain back.
We're seasoned.
We are seasoned, right?
Right.
Not bland, seasoned.
Yeah. We got a little life.
You got an answer?
I do. So actually, it's here at the National Gallery of Art, Romari Bearden. His collages, that's something that is actually in the possession here. And whenever I walk by it, it just reminds me of listening to Public Enemy and seeing that artwork and hearing Chuck D explain how he puts his rhymes together and how the Bomb Squad puts their music together in collage form, and Romari Bearden was referenced. So now I have to look up who this guy is, right? So as I look up who this cat is, boom, fast forward some odd years later, we're seasoned. I find myself working in a museum where it's actually on display. So stuff like that is kind of what resonates, and it's just like, oh, wow, you're in a really good space and place.
Yeah. I'm from St. Louis, so we have St. Louis Art Museum. They have an African art collection. So I'm gonna go full African art collection and having that impact me, and then studying African studies in college, and then going back to work at the St. Louis Art Museum. So that's my answer. All right, if there's one artist that you can have dinner with, who would it be? And it doesn't say this, but I'm dead or alive.
Ooh. You know what? Basquiat.
Say more.
Basquiat, man. I mean, that cat, Samo, I'm a hip hop head, right? So when you look at the juxtaposition of art and hip hop and how that correlation all kind of happened, he was there in the middle of it. And he's one of the first people who was selling out of his trunk, right? So he's selling art out of his trunk, which inspired artists to sell music out of their trunk. So my question for like him is, what possessed you to go to Andy Warhol and say, yo, you need me? He went to that cat and was like, yo, you need me or your team because I'm gonna take you a little bit further than you've already been. And that is like the spirit of hip hop right there in the art world. And then the images of him crowning himself as king over and over and over again. And then just the images and the questions of, of police brutality at that time, or just dealing with his injuries or dealing with loss and stuff like that. And he only lived but so long. Yeah. So, I mean, essentially he is Tupac Shakur of the art world. So it's that kind of vibe that really is inspirational. Yeah. So how about you?
That's tough.
Okay.
Many options. I'm gonna go with Alma Thomas because I'm looking at her painting on the wall. Plus her life was so inspirational, lifelong learner, teacher, artist, always reinventing herself. And then having this moment in her 60s of where she just makes it big and is having retrospectives and the first African-American artist, woman, to have a solo exhibition at the Whitney. And this is all in her 60s. And she just looks like a nice lady too.
Season.
There we go. We're back to season. Yeah. I'm going to Alma Thomas.
I was working with kids during the pandemic, right? Working with my son's school. So we used her images, the one we're looking at right now, the color wheel. And we had a color wheel of sneakers, right? And showed how that inspiration inspires artists and how even all of these different collaborations can happen just because we allow them to and open ourselves to what art can teach us and tell us about ourselves.
You're gonna take my job. That's what we try to do.
We collaborate.
Okay, we collaborate.
We collaborate.
That's it.
Yeah, we have a good time.
Yeah.
Here's a question. If you could live in a painting, which would you live in?
If I could live in a painting, which painting would I live in? I'd probably choose one of Monet's water lily paintings. Had a home in Giverny, France. He actually created his water lily pond by diverting a river. And he actually had a gardener who would come and sweep the tops of the water lilies. Yeah. But if you look at it, it's just flowers everywhere. And he had a really interesting home there too. So I'm jumping into a Monet. Yeah,
I can dig that. Give me Bearden's jazz, because you have jazz artists. It's a collage of different artists. I know what that music sounds like. I can imagine what that vibe is. What does that club feel like? And it's at this time where change is occurring. So you have people, and I was fortunate enough to be able to ask Dick Gregory this question once, because I was talking to him about being a comedian during the Civil Rights Movement. He was like, well, they had to laugh. So he was like, well, we saw all this stuff happening during the daytime. He said, somebody had to keep people happy during that march. Our closeness helped us be who we are and helped push society forward. And I also say that to say jazz is one of the only unique art forms that America has created. So the way that he depicted that, you can see that coming off of the canvas, and I can hear it and feel it, and it's vibrant. This is our final question.
Yeah, if you didn't work in a museum, what would you do? Didn't get it. Haywood's a comedian.
Yeah.
A writer.
Yeah, I am.
What else would you do?
If I didn't work in a museum, what else would I do? More community service.
Yeah, more
community service. I'm active in the community. We would like to be active more, but it's just not as lucrative as I would need it to be in order to sustain myself and my 4 children who live with us in our little community. So that's probably what I would do if I wasn't working in a museum. How about you?
I have no technical skills, Haywood. None at all.
No technical skills.
I can read for comprehension, though. So I'd probably be in higher ed.
Okay.
Maybe have gone on to get a PhD or something like that.
All right, so that is the end of our questions.
Thanks for submitting.
Yes, and make sure you add any additional questions in the comments section and hit that like and subscribe button. Please give us those thumbs up. Bye-bye.